I was going to say, speaking of new spots, a lot of new ladies found new homes, new spots. WNBA draft last night.
Indeed, they did. Indeed, they did. I think let's just start from the top because I think there's a lot of things we want to talk about with the WNBA in particular. Obviously, the draft, but kind of as a whole, because this is the big. I mean, 2 million, I think, people tuned in to the WNBA draft. I think 2.4, which is the most ever by like shattering the previous number. People eyes are on the WNBA right now, so I think it's only fitting that we give them a segment here to start. Um, let's just start. Let's just start right at the top. Caitlin Clark, number one overall pick,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Fever. No surprise there. I mean, this is the most obvious number one overall pick since LeBron. Uh, and speaking of, the WNBA needs her to be not just a LeBron, but we'll talk about how they the marketing a little bit later. But she's got to be their Jordan. I mean, this is a lot of weight that she's carrying, but I mean, you saw those numbers, and as much as people want to point to, oh, why is she on SNL? Like, oh, she's the loser. Like, why are you inviting losers? Has nothing to do with like race. It has nothing to do with what school. She is the product. Like anybody who watches basketball regularly knows that that is like must see TV. Like that is what must see TV is. She's the product, and she deserves every ounce of praise and such that she's getting. And the number one overall pick, man, that was a shoe in. That was a shoe in, and I thought she killed her like her opening pressers and stuff too. Loved everything she had to say, and you know she made that as eventful as it could have been, you know, knowing that she was going to go. But I'll let you take the floor now on CC. Just overall thoughts on that and her.
Yeah. For starters, I think she was the first person to ever wear Prada. So shout out, CC swagged out, Caitlin Clark. Gotta love it. I think also going to your point of like, people complaining that they showed so much love to Iowa and Caitlin Clark sort of after the national championship loss. To support your point is this Caitlin Clark carries it. She's got the whole nation captivated. People who don't even watch basketball, let alone just watch the NBA, people who don't even watch basketball know who the hell Caitlin Clark is, and are like, she's a real baller. Nobody is discrediting her skills at all. Um, Another reason is before the draft even happened, I think it was like a couple weeks ago when the Fever put up their season tickets, they changed venues just to have a bigger arena to come to the Fever games when they would travel to different locations and such because they know she's going to draw a big crowd. She drew big crowds in Iowa. She drew big crowds during the tournament. Caitlin Clark is that. The spotlight's on her. I feel really bad because usually they love you at first and then they're just going to hate on you. And I think we've started to see a little bit of the first wave of hate. I think it's only going to get worse. I think LeBron is sort of a perfect sort of comparison, if you will, just as all the expectations. Of course, they have the skill, but it's more than just basketball. Both of those, LeBron knew that, and he navigated through his career quite successfully, knowing that Caitlin Clark has to as well. I think she'll be just fine, but just everybody's going to try to start tearing her down because she is that top dog. I do also want to say, though, got to give credit to the other players as well. I mean, Caitlin Clark obviously has been a main hit, but Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Cardosa, obviously there's so many more. You got Paige that's still staying behind. Juju, obviously, all these female players. It's really all of them that are making the game exciting. whether that's their skills, their competitive nature, their personalities, intensities, whatever. All of them are giving a much needed spark to what the WNBA needs right now. They need these personalities. They need to be able to market these things. But I just want to say, like, obviously Caitlin Clark lived up to the hype, but really all these other ladies too. Like, it's just a whole new wave of like the new generation, really, the Gen Z generation, really, kind of helping spark that WNBA, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. To your point, man, it's a numbers thing with CC. Like she broke Pete Maravich's a man. By the way, I don't even know how long it stood. 60 years, 80 years, something like that. Um, a long time,
Long time,
a
a
long time.
long time.
And she didn't only break it; she shattered it with a pull-up three from the logo, a 35-footer.
Bang. And she called that too.
And she called it. I mean, come on, come on. But yeah, there's a lot more to talk about here in this draft class. It's just not her. This is like the storylines from this draft class, like storylines galore. I'll go through just so we avoid like the connection issues. I'll go through and I'll rip them all off, and you can give your thoughts on them, and then I'll go off
Yeah.
what you said.
Yeah.
So I got the I did have it, didn't I? I literally had it. I'll look it up again.
I also think it like the connection got a lot better.
It might have. It might have. I had the results. Where'd they go? Well, we know Caitlin Clark is number one. Number two, Cameron Brink. LA, LA Sparks. I mean, that's that just fits to me. I don't know why. Where the hell?
Stanford,
Third,
not too far.
maybe it's the West Coast. Yeah, sticking on the West Coast. Third, Kamilla Cardoso to the Chicago Sky. I mean, that's also very fitting. Just massive 7-foot woman to the Chicago Sky. I'll skip down a couple. Angel Reese. Oh, what did she? What did she go overall? I thought she was 10th. Oh, she was 7th. Excuse me, 7th.
Yes.
To Chicago Sky. I mean, the Twin Towers right there. Reese Cardoso. That's a huge pairing. Underneath, a couple more notable ones. Let's see what we got here. Who else we talked about on here? Well, I mean, let's go top 5. Raquel Jackson, Tennessee. Great pick right there from the Sparks. She's going to be teaming up with Brink. 5th overall pick, J.C. Sheldon, Big Ten, Ohio State guard going to the Dallas Wings. Skip down a little bit just for the sake of time. 14, Nika Mule, UConn guard. We talked about her a lot on here. Clamping Caitlin Clark, well, as much as you can do in the Final Four game. She had a great showing there. I think that really helped boost her draft stock. So those games are definitely going to be, start on the calendar. Celeste Taylor, another Ohio State guard, going 15 to the Fever, teaming up with Clark and Alea Boston. This might have been my favorite pick of the draft. Kate Martin going 18th overall to the Las Vegas Aces. Complete surprise. She was just there to support Caitlin, and then ended up getting her name called out of nowhere. Just love to see that. Great all around player. She's gonna be a baller for the Aces, and teaming up with that stack team there. Then we go to the third round. We got a lot here in terms of the ZAP show. Your girl, Kiki Jefferson, going number 31
Kiki,
overall
baby.
to the Minnesota Lynx out of Louisville.
Yes, sir.
Woo! And shout out Penn State, Ashley Woso, going number 33 overall to the Dallas Wings. So Nittany Lions represent. I think those are pretty much the highlights. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
I touched on him
That's
a little bit,
awesome.
so you can take it away.
That's awesome. So obviously my favorite pick, my prom date, my best friend Kiki, went to high school with her. Such a ball of energy. I was, you know, able to meet up with her dad a couple weeks ago, while the women's tournament was going on, and kind of chatted with him, and just kind of seeing what her mindset was and the vibes and everything, and kept track of those mock drafts, and I saw she actually got picked a little bit ahead of what she was projected. They were thinking maybe 34, 35 overall. I think LA Sparks were around that area. I was kind of hoping maybe she would go to LA Sparks just because of the rare chance that she could meet LeBron and maybe have him in their contact list. I just think that would be so awesome because I know how much she loves watching him play. But regardless, I'm super happy for her. She deserves every living bit of it. Um, Minnesota Lynx too, like that'll be awesome. I think they play the Liberty in July in Brooklyn, so I maybe traveling there just to kind of watch her play. I believe that's like the closest team around us, which we need to fix that. I kind of want to touch on that a little bit later too. But the other kind of exciting thing I'm looking forward to, Chicago Sky. Uh, Mostly because Cardosa and Angel Reese are going to be crazy together. Great duo. You mentioned Twin Towers, but also that team's owned by Dwayne Wade, part owner or something like that. So really kind of excited just for the future of the WNBA. I think I'm definitely gonna be tuning in this summer because it's between Pirates and WNBA. I'm gonna claim my team. I'm gonna be Minnesota Lynx unless Kiki travels. I'm just gonna bandwagon with her. So, but right now I'm gonna lock in on Minnesota Lynx. Gonna start doing my research, figuring out the players up on there, and start watching some of these games. I just have just overall my thoughts are just pure excitement, joy. So happy to see just all these players move on to the next level and reshape the game. I think this is just the start of it. And I think we're really going to see it kind of skyrocket this summer where Sports Center, they're not posting, their little interview clips with outfielders in baseball. They're actually going to be posting highlights of the WNBA. Cross my fingers. I hope Omar is listening to this podcast. We want to see more WNBA highlights on the Sports Center page.
Facts, Omar.
Yeah. But yeah, just overall, it's awesome, dude. And a
Yeah,
great event
I
too.
think
I
you
don't know
put
if
it
you
well.
watched it.
Yeah.
It
It
was it
was
was
it was it
great.
was almost better than the WM, or it was almost better than the NBA draft, which I like. I don't think I said it on here because it didn't exist at the time, but I thought that was just really bad. I don't know. I just remember it being like, this is really just horribly executed event right here. I don't know if you
I
felt the
I
same, but
think
no, last night was
those
awesome.
those teams moved. It was pick after pick after pick. It's like how a draft should be. It's like, okay, so the WNBA executives actually do their homework and they know who they're going to draft. I think a fantasy football draft, anybody's draft, would took longer than the WNBA's draft. Um, Now, granted, it's less teams and all that, but still, NFL, maybe I get it why you take that long because there's you have so many roster spots to fill. But NBA, there's no reason why your draft should not be that fast. No reason.
Yeah, and it was definitely quicker, definitely more succinct. But what I liked about it was kind of like I started to allude to, just the interviews and the content. Holly Rowe was great. It was just more personable. I don't know. It felt like everybody wanted to be there and support each other and boost each other up. And I don't know. The vibes were just. I love the vibes. I love the vibes, and I think it's hopefully a great segue into the WNBA season. I mean, like I said, it's in the summer. It's just baseball. Baseball's kind of on the DL right now, on on the downward spiral, and WNBA is on the upswing. I mean, you got not just Caitlin, you got the Cardoso and Reese. I mean, they're in the same conference as the Fever, and Reese is somebody who I'm going to be interested to watch her, because like she's not going to be able to play her like bully ball style in the WNBA. A lot of bigger ladies will shut that down, so she's going to have to adjust a little bit. I think having somebody like Cardoso really helps her out in that regard, helps her expand her game. But and then Brink and what's her face from Tennessee, um, Jackson from Tennessee. I mean, that's going, and the Aces are also stacked. Like they're going to be looking to. I don't know who my team is, but I gotta get one. I gotta get one. I might just be a Rob Lowe hat, like fan of the WNBA. I'll get the orange sweatshirt or something.
Yeah. And I think, like, we're giving a lot of credit to this draft class, and I think they do deserve it all. But even like the players, like a few months ago, we were talking about how awesome it was that Sabrina versus Steph 3-point contest. So
Yeah.
there's still those stars. There's still Kelsey. There's still Griner. There's still Brianna Stewart. Like, there's still stars. It's not like, there's still that. So I think, like, but mixing this sort of, cast of, the Caitlin Clarks of the skill, the Angel Reese of the personality, like all of this, joining WNBA, it's going to be great. So I just didn't want to discredit anything, but yeah, no, I'm super excited for it. And with your baseball point, yeah, it's like baseball's on, but like how many, unless like you're a diehard true fan, like June, July baseball is kind of like, it's the only thing that's on, so I'm gonna put it on. And also, you'd rather be in the ballpark than watch it on the TV too. In that June, July, sort of vibe. August is kind of when baseball kind of catches its swagger, because now you have playoffs to look forward to. But that's a whole other discussion. I just think baseball's too many games, but whole other conversation.